Well, here's something we expected to hear. President Cyril Ramaphosa has flat out denied being dodgy with his CR17 election campaign. And he's also dismissing allegations that he appointed people who helped him to government. Ramaphosa answered questions in the National Assembly a short while ago. Lindsay Dentlinger is following the story for us. She joins us now live. So, Lindsay, Ramaphosa insisting the CR17 campaign was legitimate and there was no abuse of state funds.
Correct, Shahan. He says it was a very necessary campaign to lead the ANC. It was a hard one to do within the party. But he's also spun it around onto MPs, saying maybe this is the opportunity to open that debate as to whether internal party contests should also be regulated and whether donation should be declared. As we know, the political party funding bill does not make provision for that. That is only for election campaigns. And he cited an example saying, what if Floyd Shabambu decided to contest for the leadership of the EFF? Should the EFF then also make their contributions known for an internal party contest? But saying that no one was rewarded for fundraising. They did so as individuals and they owe no one an apology. This is exactly what he told the House a little earlier today.
The CR17 campaign was a legitimate, forward-looking and necessary effort to promote the renewal of the governing party and broader society, and it was undertaken under difficult conditions. In its funding and its activities, there was no wrongdoing. Let me repeat, no wrongdoing, no criminality, and no abuse of public funds or resources. It is important that we should note that those who contributed to the campaign, whether as organizers, as volunteers, as members of the ANC, as service providers, or indeed as donors of one sort or another, including myself, did so out of a genuine concern for the future of our country.
And then, of course, the DA's Mmusi Maimane managing to sneak in the question about whether he gave cabinet positions to people who helped him get elected.
Yes, Shahan, that's the question the DA tried at the 11th hour yesterday to include on today's question paper. The Speaker saying earlier today they didn't meet the deadline for submitting that question in time. But yes, they did try to sneak that in. And the President shutting down that line completely, saying it's not the way he operates. Those who raised funds for his campaign did so out of their own volition. And if it's found that any of the money was not above board, it would be DA leader Mmusi Maimane using that opportunity to wave a letter at the President, saying there was proof that the ANC had received 3 million rand from Bosasa in 2014 and wanting to know whether the President would see that the ANC gives that money back. He then handed that letter to the President, and the President promising House once he'd studied that letter and determined the source of that money.
Honorable Maimane, the answer is no. I don't operate like that. The issue of the amounts that were deposited into people's accounts had a variety of reasons. A number of them were active participants in the campaign, and they were meant to utilize the money for purely legitimate purposes of making sure that the campaign moves forward. And with all the colleagues that you refer to, there was no expectation whatsoever for any recognition, any return, and the decision to appoint members into the executive is a process that the leadership of the African National Congress gets involved in.
And then very quickly, Ramaphosa also said the ongoing spat between him and the public protector is not good for the country's democracy.
That was an raised by the UDM's Bantu Holomisa, saying he didn't think that it portrayed a good image to the international world, especially in the troubles that South Africa finds itself in, and didn't augur well for investors to see this kind of spat. And the president agreeing with him, saying it wasn't ideal and it wasn't intentional, but that it's not a good idea that state departments and especially Chapter 9 institutions at loggerheads with each other. This is what he had to say.
I am equally concerned as president about these happenings between the president as well as the public protector. It does not augur well for our democracy. We should not have important offices in our nation at loggerheads with each other. It's just like, for instance, if the president is at loggerheads with the judiciary on a number of matters that could have been solved in a different way. It so happens that the findings of the public protector we have found are challengeable in law and in fact. And it is for this reason that my advice has been that we should actually go to an arbiter like our court. We should not be alarmed when things like these happen. We've got a constitution that regulates the relationship between the various institutions.
We'll leave it there. ENCA reporter Lindsay Dentlinger is in Cape Town.